Hey,
Yeah, look good. Hold on, let me fix it again. I'm literally on the phone. I don't know if this will work.
Yeah, it works. I can see you. I can hear you too. Sounds good.
Whatever. We'll see how that works. Good, bro.
You heard about LaMarcus Aldridge?
Yeah, man.
I'm retired.
That stuff is actually sad. Like, this dude just got to the Nets, thinking he's gonna win a championship. Um, he's a good dude and all, and then he suffered what is it? Missing beats with his heart or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
tough, man.
yeah. That's
Where's
good
your
though. Like,
camera?
sorry,
Where's your camera?
camera.
Camera.
Right here.
There you are, bro. What's up? Hey, buddy. We got a big commenter in the chat here.
Yeah.
Danish Khan, what's up? Who is this? We got a whole fan base out here, bro.
Yeah.
Looks like you're hibernating, bro. You got a whole toque and headphones and
Nah,
like this
I
whole
I
sweater.
didn't get a haircut in a while because all the
Yeah,
barbers were
same.
closed. So.
Like literally, the last cut I got, like my mom cut me, was like in February, early February, and then like, oh, buddy, love the beard for both of you. Appreciate that. Appreciate. Hey, send this to your friends. Let them know we're live. This is Chuck Go Global talking about. I can barely see the chat. Let's see.
I don't know if your thing is delayed.
Oh, here we go. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Love your videos. Okay, now I got the comments on my screen, but I can't see myself. So whatever, it's fine. But yeah, yo. How you been? How's Ramadan treating you? How's everything?
Yeah, it's going great like the usual.
Good, that's good. We can see you. We can see you. The whole chat can see me. Okay, that's what's up. We got a whole fan base out here, right? Like how many people? We got
Two
25
people.
people?
2 people.
Literally one guy. Hey,
So people
put him on the video call.
who are Danish?
Yeah, might as well. How's quarantine going for you guys? Quarantine's fun, bro. You know me. Like,
Yo, did you see
fun.
that shit where that educational board was like how we're gonna open schools, and then like a couple hours later Doug Ford was like we're gonna close them still.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like technically, what he's doing by saying closing the schools and stuff, like technically that's right. But then when you see the results, and looking at all the numbers, and you only see them increase, it kind of doesn't make any sense. But now they're gonna have the vaccine going out, and I don't know. We'll see how those numbers. They should drop after everyone gets the vaccine.
Yeah,
So we'll see if that works.
there was one person who used the AV vaccine, the Astra.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna take that one, bro. I'm not reading good things on it.
But I think the person got blood clot because they were also taking birth controls.
Right.
Yeah,
Like that's scary. Like I don't want to like get blood clots while you're thinking about the whole purpose of taking it is like you're trying to heal or protect yourself from foreign invasion of basically this virus, and then you cause yourself to do another one to get another thing. When do you guys think you'll get your vaccine? Like I don't know, bro. I don't even know if I'm getting it, to be honest. But I'm open to it. My family's a little more strict about it. I don't know about you, but we'll see. Like honestly, I'm down. Like if it's Pfizer or Moderna, I'll probably be down to get it like anytime, to be honest. But I'm gonna take a very wait and see approach with it, to be honest with you. And I'm not feeling anything. Like I haven't experienced anything. Like alhamdulillah, like I haven't gotten any virus or anything like that. But yo, if there starts to be a point where they're like, okay, yo, we're gonna force you guys to take it because you can only enter this private area if you show that you've taken this vaccine.
Yeah.
And if they force it on people to take it, then I have no choice.
Yeah,
and I'm
there's some
fine with
jobs
that
like
being the option, the ultimatum. But it's like up until then, it's not a necessity to me. Not even thinking about it, to be honest. I don't know about you, but
yeah,
yeah.
it'd be crazy because I'm pretty sure like especially like job places they'll probably mandate it too. So
So what are you doing? Like you taking it or?
I'm probably gonna take a wait and see approach like you.
Yeah,
Like not a lot of people take it right now. Like best of that elderly population take it first because like they're most affected by it anyways, right?
man, it's kind of worrisome to me. Like I worry about like my parents taking it or whatever. Like I'm worried it'll affect them and
And
have some.
spread it can spread when
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
like I don't know. Do you worry about like the side effects and stuff?
For COVID.
No, for the vaccine, like if it causes any symptoms, because you know, there's some people, blood clots is one of them. There's also some like fatigue. That's not a big deal, but like then there's people saying something like it doesn't mix well with other medications. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but
Like
stuff like
all
that
like
kind of scares me.
like a lot of like vaccines and like even shots like the TB shot has side effects too, but like you still have to take it, right? But,
Yeah.
like
We're just-
I don't think the blood clot. In my opinion, I think the blood clot was like a it was like it's like 1 in a million chance that might happen to an individual, right?
Yeah, that is true, but it's like I don't know. When there's the other vaccines that are receiving uh, less bad news, it's like might as well take those. You know, like Pfizer.
Yeah,
I'm hearing the best news from, so I don't know.
I heard something how this might be a marketing tactic how like they say this drug like Pfizer and all these other companies are like uh they publish this out so like don't take our vaccine
Yeah,
because I think if I'm not mistaken the the Astra which called
Seneca.
vaccine was I think cheaper
Yeah.
so obviously more people are gonna take it so like
Hmm.
I don't know like pharmaceutical companies right so like
You said what? What did you say at the end?
pharmaceutical like they're very like business oriented right so
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, my main answer to that question is like a wait and see approach, and but I am open to it because I think anyone over the age of well, sorry, between the ages of like let's say 18 and 45 are like the least susceptible to any of these symptoms because like you got so many people that are young and like healthy. If you that's if you're not going through some other things like I don't know how it affects if you have smoking and all that, but regardless of the case, eventually you might be forced to take it anyway, so it doesn't matter what I'm saying.
yeah
But one thing that's kind of weird, like all these lockdowns, I like it's not really a strategy anymore to prevent cases from going up. It seems like it's almost like uh, it's okay. I should rephrase. Like it's almost like it's not the whole point of it at first was like okay, we could potentially get rid of the um, virus by just doing these lockdowns, and if everyone cooperates, the virus will eventually go away. But it's almost as if that idea is completely forgotten about, and they're just like, okay, let's just do this to slow down the rapid rate of like the virus in our population, like because it's going to go up. It's almost as if they know it's going to go up, but they're just doing this to prevent it from excel. What's the word I'm looking for, man? Exponentially increasing. That's the word I'm looking for. So it makes sense, but it's like with a population like ours, especially, you can't really expect to go on lockdown and like have it do wonders, like like I don't know, like New Zealand or something like that. So it's that's what I've gotten from this lockdown stuff. It's almost like the government's just trying to. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not
yeah
saying it's a conspiracy, but I'm just saying they've shifted their focus from potentially not having to take vaccines and just getting rid of this virus naturally by locking down and staying inside and whatever, what have you. But to just preventing exponential increase, which is inevitable especially with the population that we have, and especially with you get a couple hundreds of people in certain locations to not follow the rules. I mean, you have such a huge population anyways. You get a couple hundred here and there, a couple hundred in Scarborough, a couple hundred in Vaughan, a couple hundred in Saga, Toronto, Brampton, whatever, to not follow these rules. And then among those couple hundred, you have, let's say, 2 to 3 at first that initially have it. And then that number increases from 2 to 3 to, they're chilling with hundreds of people to, let's say, I don't know, 5, 6 after a couple weeks. That keeps going up. And then, a couple months later, you end up getting, I mean, obviously the numbers I'm talking about are very small scale compared to what we are at, but this ripple effect, essentially, you get it's spreading across the country. And then I'm not saying it's just those people that are not cooperating. It was inevitable anyways, but you got people not cooperating anyways, and then making matters worse. I mean, it is what it is. Lockdown or not, people are going to still not follow the rules, it seems like, and it's not going to matter anyways. We'll never really look back at it, at least for Canada, in my opinion, and say that the lockdown was a proper strategy just because the population that we have. But it's not a thing that is bad. We have to do it. It makes sense. What doesn't make sense is going in and out every 10 days. That doesn't make sense. I'm exaggerating a bit, but that's what it seems like, right? So I don't know, man.
Seems like lockdowns, there's no purpose, because every time they open for a couple of weeks, cases just rise up, and then they shut down everything again.
Mm-hmm.
I think they opened partly opened, I think, around summertime until I guess November, and then they closed everything. They opened it again, I think, a little while, and then they closed everything again.
Yeah, I think there was a stretch at the end of February to March-ish. I remember it being not on lockdown, because I remember going out and stuff with friends and even playing football and stuff. But a couple weeks later, I hear that we're back in lockdown, and then I hear we're back out of it, and then back in. Can't tell you the exact timelines, but you get what I'm saying. I think we've been in and out of it in the last 3 months at least. 4 times? So that goes. I don't know how it's gonna end though. But that's what I'm wondering. Is this lockdown gonna? You think when it ends or whatever, they're just gonna stop locking down people and then just say, okay, we're gonna force you to take the virus because this lockdown stuff's not working and people aren't cooperating anyways, and curfews and all that stuff. It's not gonna stop a whole country, and it's also not gonna stop a virus. So it's what do you think? And also, where's your camera? You shut it off again?
Yeah, I shut it off.
Why, bro? We gotta see you.
No, I'm good.
You don't want to be on camera? Where's Danish? You still here?
Yeah, I think so. I gave the link to Sunny. Let's see if he watches.
Yeah, please, bro. That'd be sick. But yeah, what do you think? You think after this lockdown, they're just gonna say, okay, screw the lockdown, let's just go into full force if we have enough vaccines to supply?
I think once the majority of people take vaccine, you're probably going to see a decrease in cases, and then they'll open everything up. But I guess the main problem is they don't have efficiency rates for the vaccines. I guess aren't that high yet. I don't know the numbers, so I'm just guessing.
I don't know the numbers, but I heard something about they had enough for the country a while back. So I'm pretty sure they do have enough for the country. It's just a matter of who do they prioritize first, and that I don't know. I don't know, like you're saying, if it's elders or is it, people above the age of 18. I'm not too sure. I would assume it's the elders, and then it's everyone else. But we'll have to see. Whatever happens, it's been around for 2-3 years now. Well, not 3, but it's been around for 2 years now, and it's probably going to continue to be around for another at least maybe a year or so, even with the vaccines. because it's going to take a while to get it out of everyone's system, right? The virus completely dying. Use banners to summarize. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think everything will go back. I don't know about going back to normal. Like, I think masks and stuff will still be a thing. And this is a huge, you got to think it's a huge learning lesson for everyone. So everyone's going to know about this just essentially, but because of this whole pandemic, everyone's going to know about like masks in general. And I remember a couple people before in second year, first year, they were wearing masks on train tracks when I was going to university. And I was like, why are they doing this? Like, I get the whole idea of preventing of spreading diseases, but I was like, it's a little bit too much. And then I started looking back at that, and I was like, okay, they're actually the smart ones. You know, they did it first. And when I was, even before COVID, there was a couple of months, I started to shift that mentality. I was like, yo, this is actually smart. Because, yo, when you think about it, like, even when you go and, like, handshake someone, right? Stuff like that. Like, you do that probably 20 times a day when you're at school. Maybe, you know, depends on the person, but at least 5 times to, like, maybe upwards of 30, especially if you go to somewhere like the Rack, like we used to go to. I remember, bro, like, I don't think that'd be a thing again, bro. Like, I'm not sure. Maybe it might be. Fist bumps are definitely going to be a thing, too. But used to go to the gym and just like dap everyone up, and it's like you go in with the just, you have to trust that they don't have their hands being dirty, and that they would say something if they did, and most people do. But what they don't tell, like, they'll tell you, oh, you know, I'm eating right now, I got crumbs on my hands or whatever. But what they won't tell you is if they're sick, or if they, and even if they know, even, and they don't know that they're sick sometimes, because sometimes it takes 48 hours for the virus to actually give its effect to you. Like, not even the COVID, just any virus, any sickness. I think it stays in your body between 24 and 48 hours before it gives you symptoms. So that's also a factor. And it's like, we used to do these things on a daily, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know how it's going to shift now. In terms of the world going back to normal, it might take like 3, 4, 5 years before we actually see like proper normality. And what's another strange thing is like, I think the virus, there has been a virus in every, like, 1920, 2020, 1820, 1720, every 20th of the year. It's kind of weird, but that's another story. But yeah, what I was going to say is, regardless of how life is, like, I'm talking about everything going back to normal, like just the way we live and stuff, that might take like a longer time for adaptation, because you need the whole world to trust the virus, the vaccine, the whole world to trust that all the numbers are going down. And, you know, these 2 years, a lot of mentalities have shifted, including my own, right? Like, just from the basic things of what I'm saying there, like, you're going to see, like, even when you go to like Wonderland or something like that, there probably may be a restriction, or maybe having to create spaces between lines, or maybe people wouldn't touch the rail as much, small things like that. Like, these are things that were normal to us just a few years ago. And I'm saying, in terms of that shift back to normality, that might take a longer time, if ever. But I would predict about 3 to 5 years, even maybe never, but who knows? I could be wrong. I don't know if I want that. You kind of do, in a sense that you want things to be normal again, but also like you don't want it to be like worrying about contaminating things and constantly worrying about disease in your head. But that might just be a thing forever. Who knows? But in terms of like going to school and stuff full time, I'm pretty sure that takes in place for sure, like next year. Like going back in person. Like, I think for sure next year they have to, just because like the schools and stuff are probably losing money and probably need people to go in person and actually attend the schools. Because I don't know how it works, but I'm pretty sure that's going to work. They're going to get people to go back full time within the next year for sure.
I think universities are opening.
They're open now, but I'm saying full time. Like, I'm talking about no online classes. Like, I'm talking about regular school where you have like 35,000 people on campus. That'll go back to normal like next year. You know, now it's kind of like half-half. Some courses are still online. Some courses let you go back. Some courses, it's only like the master's program that lets you go on campus, or some schools, I should say. So I'm talking about like global
Yeah,
My
yeah,
friend.
yeah.
I think that register is fully full time next year. I'm not sure though. But the hell is this in the chat?
I
Join.
just for a link.
Oh, nice.
And
But yeah,
then,
anything you want to say on that? That's my whole thoughts on that. And I, in terms of the vaccines, I am taking a wait and see approach, and my family's a little bit iffy on it. Like they don't want to take it, but I don't mind myself. I mean, I'm younger, so there's that.
yeah, there's some people there's some like conspiracy theories how like, oh, there's like there's gonna be chips in it to control you, like it's population control. Did you ever hear this type of stuff?
I've heard of that, but I don't believe it.
Mm.
I mean, how can you do that to a whole population and not one person know about it? And why would they do that? Right?
Uh, yeah.
Like, what's the purpose in like brainwashing people for no reason? You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
also, I mean, it could be true, but highly unlikely. Also, wouldn't some agency find out about this? Wouldn't the medicine have to be passed through labs in order
Yeah,
to
it
be?
has to be like in the states and stuff. It has to be like
Yeah, it goes through the
FDA approved.
FDA, right?
Yeah,
So how can it be? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But you know what is a conspiracy? Probably, my guess is like the numbers for COVID, like the numbers of cases and stuff like that. Like those are probably always not accurate. Now, I'm not sure if it was on purpose or it's just uh, misinformation or miscount or whatever it may be. But another part of it might just be like purposely buffing the numbers
Mm.
just so you get more awareness, or maybe just so you can create a fallacy of where, oh, we have to be on this, we have to do lockdowns, we have to do this. Not sure if that's true, but that might be true. You never know. Who's going to be the one that's uh, like proving that to be wrong? Like
Yeah,
who? Like for all we know, all the government agencies can work together in making that true, and no one would question it. Um,
yeah.
So I don't know. Like, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of stuff I don't read nowadays. I just sometimes I'll just check weekly on like cases in Ontario, or maybe I'll read like a CBC report. Like, I think I read something last week saying that Canada's been vaccinated at least one time. What this was like maybe 4 or 5 days old now, but at least one time, I think up to 17% of the country. So in comparison to US, that's like half. It's really low, but and in comparison to UK, I think it's like 60% there, 33 in the US, maybe even more now. This is old, like I said, 4 days ago, but I mean, it's
It's the
something.
same shit. It's like the same shit every day, you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, I don't really read too much on it anymore because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to these numbers don't matter. You're just going to have to take the vaccine or not. Like, so we'll see. And all that matters is the vaccine results at this point. It's not like these numbers don't matter anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because like we have a vaccine, so you don't have to worry about the numbers. You can always be like, oh, we can always vaccinate people now, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just saying like it leaves you more. I don't know. At least for me, it gives me less. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like initiative to
Mm.
look into the numbers and more worry and more skepticism and stuff like that. Like I don't really care that much anymore because you have the vaccine out. So at any point, if you end up having it or not, what does it matter when you have the vaccine? So and we have to see how efficient that is. That's what I'm looking for. Is vaccine related news more than COVID news? Because the cases will go up, the cases will go
Yeah.
down. That doesn't really matter anymore. What matters now is the vaccine, and what matters now is whether you have to take it or not. That's all that matters, and the efficiency of which one is the best. That's all that matters, and whether you have to take it or not. I think I said that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, bro, I mean, not much else to talk about. I mean, that is what happens in a pandemic. This is obviously one we've never seen before on a whole global scale, but uh, I mean, it happens. It's happened in
Yeah.
the past, not to this degree, and I think anyone's in the future might be a bigger degree just because of world population. But it is what it is. I mean, we'll see how the vaccines go, like I said, and we'll see from here.
Let's talk about like something else now. You seen the new show on Amazon Prime, Invincible? It's kind of like The Boys.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's animated though. It's like animated. Um, it's
I
like
think
yeah,
I think my brother was talking about something like that, but
yeah,
I didn't watch it yet. Why? Is it good?
yeah. I liked it. It's based on the comics. Boys was based on the comics as well.
Yeah, Boys is
Uh,
really good though.
yeah, season two. I like season one better, but
I think because season 2 was a bit silly. Like
yeah.
they had a lot of okay. That girl, I couldn't even tell you her name, but you know the girl
Was
that
it
they
like Newman, right? The
no, not that girl. That's the chick at the end. I'm talking about the Storm something
Stormfront.
Stormfront. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that girl was she's cool, but like they juiced her up. Like they made her like okay, you guys have to focus on her now as the main character, and it kind of is strange when you do that in the second season because
um,
it almost fades away from who you built up in the beginning, and you start to
mm,
think of them as not mattering as much. So
yeah.
it kind of like I'm saying, like guys like or people like Starlight or people like even a bit of what's his name? Starts with the
Homelander.
Butcher.
Oh,
No, not
Butcher.
Homelander. Homelander was still very, very relevant, but
Yeah,
Butcher more sense. Like their stories weren't as good, and it was a
yeah,
lot of like the whole season was. I feel like all I remember was him going around looking for Becca, even if I
yeah,
don't even
yeah.
know if that's her name, and then like something to do with like not liking the kid, and then like they were at a
Yeah.
jail at one point. Dude, I remember they were at a jail, and there was this chick called Cindy. You remember? Like she was like a bald girl
Oh yeah, that
and
one.
she had like an insane power, bro. I was as soon as I saw her, I was like, yo, this is gonna be sick because now it's a power clash between that and
Yeah, the
Homelander.
character might be more relevant in season three.
Like I hope so, because that one when I saw her, I was like, yo, this is gonna be sick. And then they just never showed her. But I think there's got to be a
I
reason
think
for
they're
that.
saving it for the next season.
There's yeah,
Because there
exactly.
was a shot. There was a shot. Like there was like a shot. Like I think close to the end where like it was panning her face. So maybe,
Yeah, so hopefully.
maybe.
Um, but yeah, boys. I mean, what really made me kind of not like it at the very end is the way they filmed the fight between Stormfront and just you remember it was Maeve and
Yeah,
Stargirl or I don't even know if that's her name, Starlight. Um,
yeah. It was like all the girls, the rest teaming
and
up.
and what's the Asian girl's name?
Uh,
Starts with a K, I think.
Kimiko.
Kimiko, yeah. Kimiko's sick, but like it was the way they did that fight at the end was like all three clashed together and started punching her in a very silly way. Like it looked so goofy, bro. Like I couldn't explain it. Like I was watching that, I was like, man, this is not good. Because I was hoping it was going to be Chemical versus her, because they were setting that up.
Yeah, because he
Like, they
killed
were-
her brother.
yeah,
So
I killed her brother, and I was like, okay, she's going to have her big power moment at the end of the season versus her. And then it just ended up being 3 versus 1 with
yeah,
minor. They had minor beef with her versus the large beef that Kimiko had. I thought it was
mm,
way more important. And then they created that thing, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this is about. Midway through the season, I remember what Huey, dude, actually the whole season, him, dude, just being very like second fiddle and just like weak. I
mm.
just even there was a scene. I think he was in a whale, and he was just talking about I don't want to come to this mission, and I was like, I don't know what that's about. And then I'm starting to remember it more. And then they had a story with Deep the whole season that made no sense. No sense, bro. Like they started
some
making him
church,
read these
church
books.
of some church, some civic.
Yeah. I was like, yo, this is so silly. And they had an eagle character, and they ended up being like not relevant at all. The whole point was to bring him back into the seven, and then I don't think he ended up being back into the seven. I'm not sure how that went. Uh, overall though, like each episode always will have a funny moment that'll make you still intrigued no matter what. So that's what's good. One thing that's good about the boys. and character development's pretty good. Like you end up liking some of the dudes really quickly. Um, like Mother's Milk is great. Homelander's fantastic. I think he's one of the best characters like
You seen him in
already
the
in like all time.
you seen the movie Banshee?
Banshee?
Yeah, the actor who played the Homelander was in that.
I didn't see the movie, but if it's him, then it's great, probably. But yeah, man. I mean, I think I'm remembering this from like I don't know when this came out, maybe like 4 months ago. Um,
Yeah.
and I think I remember at the very very end there was this girl like you said Newman, and she did some power moves like she exploded someone's head or something at the gate, and then they came to her. Who was that? Who did she? Some random dude?
That was her, no, at the end.
Yeah, but who did she explode? Like some random guy?
He was the leader of that church thing.
Oh yes. That's who it was. That's who it
I
was.
forgot his name, but
That guy, yes, now I remember. That guy was related to A Train and related to Deep and related to. I remember he was kind of weird. Like nobody, I didn't really understand that character either. Like I was like, okay, this guy, he was getting sneaky at the very end. Is when I max peak excitement for that character. I was like, okay, this is getting okay with him. I don't even know what he's about, but we're about to find out in season 3, and then boom, just kills him. I was like, okay, whatever, I guess. I mean, it kind of makes sense because it was kind of cool because I think they started building him up, and then he just dies like that, and it makes it a little better. At least it's not a useless character. But I still didn't really understand the point of him. But also Newman, they didn't really show her very much. I don't know if it was intentionally
she might
that
be
way.
the main antagonist next season.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know if she's on like Homelander's side or whose side is she on? Is she against what is it called? What's the company called? Va something.
What?
Vought.
What? Yeah.
I don't know if she's against Vought or if she's with Vought. Like I don't remember that part. I think she's against. I'm not too sure. But yeah.
With Black Noir, that was pretty stupid. How his he has allergies. That's his weakness. Some food bars.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
But they just made him like a lackey, like Vought.
Yeah.
Edgar just controls him.
I like that they brought in a boy, forgetting his name in real life, Giancarlo Esposito, I think.
Yeah.
Gus Fring, better known as Gus Fring. That he's one of my favorite actors. I mean, from Breaking Bad. So just seeing him was like dope. But like, I don't know. They
He's also in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it must be good then because he's a great actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boys was solid season 2. But I think you're right. I don't think it was as good as season 1. I will say this though. I think season 2 will lead to more build up. Like it's built up better for season 3 than season 1 built up for season 2. Because season 1 was good in its own, but like it didn't really give us much. Like we didn't know what was going to happen at the end of it. Because if I remember correctly, it was like they killed the. What did they do with the baby? They killed the mother, and it was like the Madeline chick, and it was like the baby was. I don't know. He was taken by Homelander, and like he almost burned the baby. I don't know, something like that. But they basically the way it ended, it looked like it was like a season finale to the show. Completely, and you could have ended it there because it didn't look like there was much setup for season 2. And when they started season 2, if you look at it, like it didn't really make sense. Like they just kind of like Butcher was out of the blue, like obviously because that's how it ended on season 1. But it didn't really like he didn't have like a goal going into season 2. They kind of made it up in season 2. They're like, oh, you got to go get this baby now, or you got to go get your wife now. Oh, you got to do this like. So they started bringing more story in season 2, and that's why it made it kind of look more random, and that's why it wasn't as good because it didn't relate back as well. That's what I thought.
I feel you.
And they did a lot of silly things, like they just brought a character, Stormfront, into the season, and they just said, okay, we're gonna revolve our season around her. So it had literally nothing to do with season 1. Her story was cool though. The fact that they were, I think,
she's the original. She's like the original.
Yeah. What was dope was like. She was like racist and stuff, and like they made her like
Yeah.
Like they went to some woman and interviewed her and asked her about her, and like she had another name for her, but it was kind of dope. Like when they started figuring that part out about her out, and then
He's
it
supposed
kind
to
of
be like he's supposed to be racist because that's
yeah,
uh,
like
uh
speaking German when she died, like that was dope. Um, like she was one of the Nazis or something like that. I don't know what it was about,
no,
but
it's like it's the same character from the comic. It's just he was a man in the comics to change into
yeah, like
cartoons.
that was dope. Uh, but yeah, what
So I
else?
guess Black Noir is not gonna like most likely is not gonna be the clone of Homelander like in the comics.
I don't know.
Probably
I didn't read the comics.
it's
You
probably
read them?
yeah, yeah like I didn't read them, but like I seen videos here and there
Oh,
like summarizing them, so like I know what happens. So like in the
don't.
comics, Black Noir is supposed to be a Homelander's clone.
Okay, well, don't spoil fast then. I want to kind of find out by myself.
Yeah, but he's probably not gonna be the clone because like like he takes damage to chemical. Like he regenerates obviously, but like if he's a clone, he should have the same skill sets, right? They have
Right,
different skill sets. He's
right.
allergic to like some food bar or something like that.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
I
I
don't
don't
think they're
remember.
going that way.
Yeah, I think I just remember him like not eating a chewy bar or something like that.
Yeah.
That's all I remember from him. Like there wasn't much Black Noir that I remember, honestly. I just
Yeah.
remember him being there. Oh, I think no. Now I remember. There was a scene with him in a house, on top of a house, right? Like
Yeah.
he was okay. That part was dope when he was told to kill
Oh, they went to
Butcher.
his mom's home.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was dope. Other than that, though, other than that specific scene with Black Noir, everything else I did not find
They
like
didn't even have that much scenes.
yeah, like it was not memorable.
Yeah.
But there was some parts like like you said he's allergic and stuff. What else was I gonna say? Um, man, I forget.
Yeah.
Uh, oh yeah, they film a lot in Saga and stuff too. Apparently,
The
which is
Boys.
pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of shows and movies actually film in Canada because I heard it's cheaper. Something about like the taxes too.
yeah, that's
So
dope. Um,
they filmed some of the Suicide Squad in Toronto.
oh yeah,
Yeah, the Batman scene was filmed in Toronto.
that's dope. Yeah, I think
Uh,
a lot of things should be filmed here. Like, there's a
they
lot of
are,
open
they
scope.
are actually. Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
like it should be more. Like I don't know how many are, but like there's a lot of open space compared to like America or something like that. Like
yeah.
literally, like I'm not talking about Toronto. I'm talking about like Canada. Like there's
Canada.
a
Yeah,
lot of places where there's like Vancouver. Like I'm sure there's places you can film there. And then obviously in a lot of the northern places are just snow. So it's
I
harder.
mean you could film there if you want. If you.
But you could like it's
Yeah,
really simple. You just
yeah,
have to fly there.
yeah.
But that would be something more for like the whole season would have to be related to like winter. It wouldn't just make sense doing a couple scenes when you can just do it
Mm,
somewhere close. Um, but yeah, I don't know, boys. Pretty good show.
yeah.
Uh,
Any other
oh,
shows you watch? Any other shows you've been watching?
right now, I'm in the middle of a show called Your Honor, which features
Mm,
a main guy from Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston, great actor. Um, I'm in the middle of it. It's pretty good. I've been like kind of slowing down watching recently, but it's good though. What else is there? Something I watched recently. Name some shows. I'm forgetting. Fargo.
mm,
I watched Fargo. Season 4. I don't know if you saw that.
no.
Yeah, it's a show based on Minnesota, Fargo, Minnesota, and there's 4 seasons, and each season is independent. However, there's like a small link between a couple of the seasons, and some characters reappear in the other seasons because they're based on different timelines. So you see them as a kid, versus as an adult, and you're like, whoa, like I can't believe this guy's in this story. And each season has like
It's like a non-linear.
yeah, it's non-linear, but like there's some correlations. Like for example, in season 2, there was a character named Mike Milligan who then appears as a kid in season 4 because it was a further timeline back. So it's pretty cool. And then you get to find out throughout the season. You make hypotheses like, oh, is this the kid that we know from season 2? And then there's another character in like season 3 that appeared, Wes Wrench, who appeared in season 1, and we saw him on a bus in season 3, and we're like, oh my god! Like at least for the people who watched all seasons, they would be like that. Like I went that was my first moment when I went crazy because the way they showed that scene, it was like this, they had a nice. Okay, so one of the characters in season 3 called Nikki Swango. She entered a bus. She was about to go to prison. And as they show her entering her seat, they slowly pan to the right as to who's sitting beside her. And then you hear the music in the back. It was his same music from season 1. So if you remember that song, you'd be like, oh my God, I know that song from somewhere. And then they show his face. And it was like, oh my God, are they going to team up now? Because you were on her side, because that's just how the season went. You were kind of cheering for Nikki Swango. So it was dope. And then that dude was like a bad guy in season 1. But like when you start seeing him after 2 seasons, you don't see him, and then you see him beside her, you're like, maybe he's like a criminal, but like maybe he can help. Maybe he has a good heart. And like that was like the moment where like I was like, yo, this is crazy. So I don't know. That was pretty dope. But yeah, that's Fargo. Season 4 wasn't related to what I just said. Season 4 had to do with other things. Chris Rock was in it. He was okay. What else? Yeah, you want to talk basketball? Since that's something we know. What is it?
I shared the screen, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's talk basketball for a bit. Let's talk basketball.
You want to see Luka's game winner? See that shit?
Man, that game winner, that was hilarious. He literally just jumped in, and then like I don't know what he was doing. Like I really don't know. I genuinely don't understand. Like anyone taking that shot, if they miss, they would get a lot of criticism for it.
Can you see it? Yeah.
I can, yeah. Like, what is he doing? I'm so confused.
Yeah. It's like a floater from the 3-point line.
Like I don't know. Does he? There's no way he practices that.
He probably doesn't practice those shots, but
technically it's a free though. He stood behind the line. I just don't get it. Like I don't understand what went in his brain. Like I would at least try to like force up a normal shot before thinking of doing that.
I think there was enough time. I don't think it was enough time because he probably caught the ball and was kind of off balance once he caught it.
Yeah, I mean, still though, there's no way in your head like, okay, like it's hard to explain this, but even if you're playing like 2K, right? And you're picturing there's 2 or 1 second left, and you're picturing how you're going to catch the ball and like how you're going to shoot it, even if you get contested. There's no way that comes to mind. Like there's no way. So to see him do that in the big moment and then make it is kind of special. So yeah, I don't know. He's a great player. If he ever learns how to play defense, he's basically Harden. Just the Euro version of Harden. I mean, elite passer, elite ball handler, elite at getting to rim, and elite at scoring. So, I mean, that's Harden. The only thing that he's not compared to Harden is his shooting. Harden is like hyper efficient 3-point shooter and free throw shooter. Luka's a little bit subpar right now, but if he ever gets that down, he is literally Harden. And obviously defense, Harden's a bit better than him in that regard. That's why Harden's very special. So, but he's durable. He's
like
pretty durable.
A lot of like NBA fans, they don't care about defense, right? So like everybody's like how the Nets are gonna sweep through everybody. Like I still think they're gonna get out of the East, but like at the same time,
to me,
like
the
their
Nets
defense
are a problem. like the Nets, the Nets themselves are their own problem. Like nothing is stopping them but themselves not playing good. And I'm talking about defensively, like you're saying, because they have zero good defenders on that team. They have at most decent defenders, other than Bruce Brown.
I think it's more of a team defense. Like some of the players can play defense. Like Bruce
Exactly.
Brown, like KD's not the best defender, but he can play defense. But like it's more of a team aspect. You're not like communicating, like team chemistry. Because like same thing with the Clippers. Like they didn't play that many games together. Same thing with the Nets. Like you have Harden out of the lineup some days. You have KD out of the lineup. Kyrie. They're not. How many games have they played together?
How many of the games have they played together, man? It's
Exactly.
just like the Timberwolves when they acquired D'Lo. You saw the whole thing was about D'Lo and Cat for the longest time, and after a whole year, it turned out they only played about 4 or 5 games together. So it's like
Right.
the same thing is happening with the Nets. What happens when they are all in a game, and what happens when they fight over a last shot? I mean, surely that something like that might happen. It just, I don't know. I think I can count the amount of times they've played together, the big three, on my fingers, and
Yeah.
that's not necessarily a good thing because when you're talking about playoffs, one of the biggest things in the playoffs is chemistry and knowing what your team is going to do and where they're going to stand. You have a 7-game. It's not a marathon. It's literally a sprint.
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
a
Exactly.
7-game sprint to figure this
Exactly.
out. So, and each game matters.
Like
Yeah,
Philly is a bad matchup for them because they have nobody that can guard Embiid. They have no and Simmons can. You
I
think
would
that's
say
you, you think someone can guard Embiid on the Nets?
no, but I would also say that I don't think Philly's a real contender just because I'm sorry, but if Simmons and Embiid are on the same team together, okay, like a lot of
Is it
people
because of
say,
spacing? Is it because of spacing? You mean like
yeah, like a lot of people say Simmons is useless. That is completely false.
he's
But
gonna
what
be
I
the
am going to say is we've talked about this before. Simmons
yeah.
and Embiid, that duo is terrible. One of the worst in the league. You pair Simmons with someone else like Kat or Jokic,
Hmm.
just imagine what he could do, right? He could probably score 20 points and then elite defense. He doesn't need to shoot because you've got Kat on the outside, and you're imagining a situation where there's 4 shooters around him. It's literally unstoppable. I mean, the paint's open. You got Embiid on the team, who's one of the better inside scorers, if not the best, that big man. He can shoot, but he's not. He doesn't want to. It's not his preferred way to score.
Yeah.
His preferred way is to get to the free throw line and to shoot a lot of potential mid ranges and inside post ups. That's pretty much 85% of his points.
Yeah.
So, the problem I have with Simmons and him is it's not the lack of his shooting, it's the lack of the shooting on the team. Meaning, if Embiid and Simmons both can't shoot, someone is going to be left open, and it's going to be kind of problematic for their offense.
Yeah, I think don't if I'm not mistaken, they have a couple of spot up shooters like for Korkmaz, Seth Curry, Shake Milton can shoot the ball as well.
Yeah.
They got like other role players for that
They do.
role. Yeah.
They
You think
do.
You think Doc Rivers is everybody's hating on him. You think he's a bad coach or like he's
No,
overrated
I
as
don't
a
think
coach?
I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he's somewhat overrated, but definitely not a bad coach. Like every team he goes to, I mean, he does end up being on good teams 90% of the
Yeah.
time, but every team he does go to does pretty good. One thing that he has to figure out is because if you really think about it, after last year, he got a lot of criticism because he couldn't win with LA, and I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he choked with the Clippers, right? Yeah, he did. He did choke with the Clippers. When Chris
3-1
Paul
lead.
was there.
3-1
So
lead too. Yeah.
yeah,
I think he blew another 3-1 lead too.
yeah, and then he blew
Or
another one. So that definitely has a lot of impact on his resume because if you think about it, if they had won those series, a lot of people were taking the Clippers to win it all, and who
yeah.
knows what would have happened. So as of right now, he only has, I believe, 1 championship. He's got
But like don't you see like a double standard? Let's say LeBron loses, right? the Warriors. Nobody's blaming the coach. Nobody's saying, "Oh, it's Tyronn Lue's fault." But like when Kawhi loses, it's like it's Paul George's fault. It's this guy's fault. This guy's fault.
When
Like,
Kawhi loses,
well, I'm talking about the Clippers, like that series. Like I feel like some of the fans, like Kawhi's a great player. Kawhi's a great player, but I guess like because people were saying, oh, like people like Max Kellerman were saying, he's the best player in the planet, right? So if he's the best player, he should be put on a higher standard. But I guess
I mean, I think he did get a lot of criticism, especially for the way he played in Game 6 and 7 against the Nuggets. I believe one of those games he shot, what was it, 6 of 16. One of the other games he shot maybe 7 of 22. I can't remember the numbers, but they were bad. So he did get criticism. I remember it. A couple of my friends, even on Xbox, were talking about it.
I think
they respect him more because, I don't know, Kawhi's kind of given some natural respect by the whole league. It's kind of strange. Like,
I mean, I like him. He won a ring for Toronto, which will probably
definitely. I love him too, but it's kind of strange. But because here's the thing, I've always liked him, so I have a different opinion. I have a little bit of bias. When he went to LA, this is the only time I've sort of disliked him, but I still don't dislike him. It's just whatever. I used to really like him on the Spurs, and then when he came to the Raptors, I obviously loved him. And then he won it all for us. I was like on top of the world with Kawhi, man. I was like, he's the best player. He still may be, but I think that Toronto run the year before also gave him a lot of people got a lot of respect for them.
You think he was the best player after he won the ring? Think he's the best player? Like a lot of people thought that.
So. The way I say best player, I never say best player. Like in all the sports, I've always been tiered, like best tier.
Tier, okay.
Yeah, I always do that. So like anyone in tier 1 can be the best player on any given night. And that tier is the same 4 players. It's Curry, Durant, LeBron, and Kawhi. Giannis is very close to that tier. If he can prove it more in the playoffs and get to the finals, then he will be in that tier. But as of right now, it's just those 4 because it includes playoff consistency.
Giannis, like when the coaches have a game plan, like the Raptors kind of exposed it. If you build a wall around him, it works so efficiently. Even the Miami kind of run it too a little bit too.
Yeah.
In the series, and it worked efficiently.
You know, I hate to see it because I think Giannis might be one of my favorite players ever when it's all said and done. Because first of all, he's just very different. Like he's kind of like he doesn't care about all that mainstream stuff. He doesn't care about social media. He doesn't care about working out with other players. He's always proved to everyone that he's kind of different. And then he's loyal too. So you got to respect him for that. And then it's kind of cool. Something is kind of cool about seeing a foreign player, quote unquote foreign, because he's from Greece Greece and then Nigeria's background, but come into the league and then just dominate. And then he also like built his way, like literally built his muscle from 2013 to being a twig to then
even before that too. Like there was a poor guy in Greece.
Poor man in Greece. Love the story. And then he's just such a different, like, he's not like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of an example, but a lot of these athletes are like, they're all the same. Like, they just care about, okay, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's cool. I love Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. Literally
love him. But here's the thing. He's kind of similar in the fact that, and I don't know why I brought this example up, but he just, he goes about using social media a lot. You see him on Twitter. He probably works out with other athletes, and he also is like, I feel like he's one of those guys that actually, no, I can't really bring up Donovan Mitchell. Or like, I'm thinking of Bradley Beal. I'm trying to think, like someone who doesn't really care that much about being loyal. They use social media. They're not very enthusiastic. They just want
they just want the paycheck.
They just want the paycheck. Like I can't. Donovan Mitchell's a bad example, but he does use social media, so there's that.
I mean, all NBA players use social media.
but like Kawhi doesn't, and like
Kawhi doesn't. Yeah, Kawhi
Giannis
doesn't.
only posts on Instagram. I'm talking about like tweets and stuff like Kevin Durant, right? Like Kevin Durant is actually like the best example for this, because he'll literally leave a team. He'll literally tweet about players. He won't be a leader. Like it's just he has a lot of qualities about him. Like if he was not a great player, and I'm talking about like top 3 player in the league, if he was not that, he would be one of the most disrespected players and disliked players. He already is, but he would be to a more extent. It's because his skill and game can back it up a lot that he gets away with it.
Yeah.
But like Patrick Beverly, right? Like loudmouth, doesn't really make up for it, doesn't really show up. You know, not a lot of people like those kind of players. So Giannis is one of those guys. He's humbled. He came from a different background. He doesn't work out with other NBA players, and he built his own way up. Then he's loyal, and then he's just a nice guy. Like there's so many likable things about him that I guess him as a whole, I just try not to sound gay with this, but you get what I'm saying. Like he's a really cool dude. Like I don't think anyone really.
This channel is gonna get canceled. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but
we have 0 views anyway, so
yeah, we're talking for ourselves and whoever wants to see this after. But yeah, so that's why I really want the best for Giannis, and like guys like Lillard too come to mind. Like so respected, and then they just keep staying with the team. I mean Curry too. You know, up until this year, there hasn't really been a huge soar of trade rumors up until literally his team is terrible without him. I mean, the Oubre contract is another thing. Like that's huge. It costed him more money than him actually being there. And then Wiggins and Oubre are not very good in general. And then Draymond Green is declining. He can't be an efficient scoring option. He wasn't the same as he was in like 2015, 2016. Probably never will be. He's still a great player, but he's one of those guys. He needs like another guy to come on the court for him to be really good, like Klay Thompson. But they don't have him right now, so the team is pretty 500. Like they don't do anything surprising. So up until now, we haven't really heard trade rumors for Curry. But recently, we've been hearing like, oh, Curry to LA, oh, Curry to this, Curry to that. LeBron is recruiting Curry. We'll see if that's true. I don't know, but
Curry's probably gonna stay in Golden State. He has too much. I mean,
probably.
Like, I think he loves it there. Like San Francisco is like.
I think
it's
you're
a good
right.
place. It's a good place to live there. It's like.
And then,
like he's the like when you think about Golden State, but like, who comes to your mind?
Yeah,
right?
it's literally Curry.
Like
yeah, it's literally Curry. Like generational talent, and I think he's thinking in his head this season's done with. What we're gonna do is next season better development of Wiseman after a bad. Like this is a good year for Wiseman to be back. It's not like they're in contention. Draymond is going to be better with Klay back, and then they'll probably get rid of Oubre. We'll see what happens there. And Oubre and Wiggins are movable. We'll see what they can do with that. But
you're gonna just sign a small forward then.
Yeah, they might. They might keep one, but I would guess they'd probably get rid of Oubre. We'll see though. And then that team is all of a sudden, back in the contention with Klay. It just takes Klay back because that gives Curry less of a chance of being doubled because he can always kick to Klay. So you got to stay true to him. And then they just need one more guy to be a decent scorer because Draymond's not going to get you more than 7. And then Wiseman is probably right now at about 12 or 13 points per game. So they just need one more guy, maybe a Wiggins to step up if he's still there. We'll see, but
that's a very difficult task to ask.
It is.
Telling Wiggins to step up.
Yeah, it is. We've seen how it's been in the past. But, one thing that's been good with Wiggins is his defense has been all right. So we'll see. I mean, if Curry's on the team and Klay's on the team, like that team is bound to be good. So I'm not worried about Golden State next year if they have those guys healthy. So what else?
Let's start with the Raptors.
Yeah, the Raptors are pissing me off right now because if you look at the Bulls, they are I think they've put Zach LaVine as of today on the IL. Clearly trying to lose games, getting lower in the standings. Just lost to a terrible team. I can't remember who it was. I think it was the Timberwolves or something like that, or Pistons.
The Sixers?
No, Bulls.
The Bulls, they lost to Orlando.
Orlando, that's what it was. Like, so Bulls are right there getting a lower pick, and then they're going to have, a higher pick, lower in the standings. They're going to have Vooch, Levine, and another really good pick, and then they're going to have Patrick Williams coming back in year 2, right? He's got, like I said, if he's a rookie, he's developing right now, he's going to be good next year. Surely can't be as, worse than what he is right now. And right now he's 10 points per game, solid defense. It's fine.
So what do you think about the Japanese player, Utah?
So the Raptors,
Watanabe,
yeah.
Yeah.
Raptors are kind of annoying. They're trying to win games and lose games at the same time. I don't know what they're doing. They're sitting right there in that mid spot. That's annoying. But
what seed are we? Seed are we, like 11? No, 10?
I think we're around 10 or 11. And what I want them to be is 13, 14, because there's no point.
We're 11th right now.
Yeah.
Like, so the play-in is 7 to 10?
Play-in is
7 to
10, 9, 8, 7.
Okay. I mean, we're right there in the play-in. Like,
we don't want that, though.
Yeah.
What is the point? Because
yeah.
End result is we're not going to be good enough to win the championship. So if we lose in the finals once again, look what happens the next season. Like, this season is what happens. You're back. So
even if let's the playing game, we're probably not going to win 2 in a row because we're so inconsistent. So even let's say we win 2 games in a row and get into the playoffs. They're gonna be an 8 seed. They're gonna have to either Philly or Nets. And yeah.
The worst place to be in the standings is between that 8 to 10 seed. Like, right where you're not good enough to make it to the finals. You can include 6 and 7 seed, unless it's just like you've been unlucky and you're actually good enough. Like, so for example, if Lakers drop, but they haven't had LeBron the whole time and they're a 6 seed, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like who's the 6 seed right now? Like, okay, like Charlotte. Like, Charlotte's in a terrible position in my opinion. I don't know what seed they are, but they're pretty high. Knicks, I don't know what they're doing. But someone's got to compete in the East. I mean, it's going to be these bum teams. Not everyone can tank.
Yeah, with the Knicks, I guess it's like if they're winning, it might be good because they can attract more free agents because it's New York as well. Because if New York is the bottom of the thing, nobody's going to want to join free agency.
That's the only convincing argument for them because they've been bad for so long and they haven't got any good picks out of it besides like Barrett. That it's like Kevin Knox is a failure. Obi Toppin right now is looking like one, but it's way too early to tell because he's playing behind Randall. So, but I'm just saying, like,
Knicks been losing so much. Give them a break.
We'll give them a break.
Yeah.
We'll give them a break. But that's my point is, right, I don't want the Raptors to be in that spot because if you look at their roster, they're obviously, in my opinion, way better than they should be. If you look at their differential, it's way higher than everyone around them, meaning like they're barely losing games and then they're winning by a lot. Like if you look at the differential of the whole season.
Some guys want to get paid. Yeah, put up good stats and get paid.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? The result of our record is because of unclutchness, and we've seen it literally 4 times with Pascal, 5th on last week. So that's 5 games. Injuries, we've basically also never had a full healthy roster other than early in the year. It's been either Lowry's out a week, Fred's out a week, Siakam's out a week, OG's out a week. It's been one of those. And then the third factor is Aaron Baines being literally the 30th center in the league, like 30th best starting center. Like, I'm not kidding when I say I prefer any other center on any other team than this version of Aaron Baines. Because when he came from the Phoenix Suns, he was actually decent. He was really decent. He was 10 points per game, decent shooter from 3, not a good rebounder, decent defender. Now he's like no points, no rebounds. So he was already a bad rebounder and decent defender. Now he's sub passer, sub rim protector, and sub scorer. So he literally does 0 things right, maybe besides setting screens. and you kind of feel bad for the dude because maybe he doesn't fit on the team, whatever. But get rid of him.
2 years, $14.3 million. 2 year.
It's not about the contract. It's just the fit is terrible. So it's whatever. I mean, that was a failed experiment. But at the time, it was like the only good free agent center.
He lost
So
Ibaka.
yeah, we lost Ibaka. We didn't want to pay him. I don't know what was going on there, but it's whatever. He's getting old anyways, and he sucks on the Clippers because they don't have a good point guard, and he needs a good point guard to be good.
They got Rondo.
He's not good.
No, he's good for the team chemistry.
Yeah, but he's not like you can rely on him to be like a starter for the whole playoffs and be like, okay, I need you to score as well. Like you can't just be like
he was not there to like score. He's there to like get people to follow the plays. Like he has like a hard like he has the no nonsense attitude. Like
he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine, but he's
like
just
he was good for the Lakers. He was good for the Lakers last year too.
He was,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like I still don't. Man, Rondo does this thing. I was reading a tweet. It's like he goes to a bad team,
Yeah.
plays terrible, gets traded to a good team, then starts becoming the leader on that team, and then carries that energy throughout the playoffs, and then the cycle repeats. Like he went to the Lakers. He was bad the whole regular season. He played well in the playoffs. He then goes to the Hawks. He played probably the worst basketball I've ever seen in his career. Then gets, I don't know if he got signed or traded to the, I think he got traded.
I didn't watch that many Atlanta games, so.
Well, if you just look at the numbers.
Yeah.
I didn't either, but I'm just saying, like, if you look at the numbers and then I watch maybe like 4 times that he's played, and then I've heard people say that he's played terrible.
Oh,
like,
okay.
So that all together made me come back.
Maybe they want to beat her. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyways, that team doesn't need a point guard when they got Trae Young.
Yeah. Why did they sign him?
Yeah, it didn't make sense. So anyways, then he goes to like the Clippers, and then he starts playing decent again. And I think they're 7-0 since he's been there. Like it's just I don't know what is up with him, man. He's weird. But I still don't trust him because he can't shoot. We'll see though. I mean,
I think we shouldn't. He was making those threes in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, but
he might do that again. He might be tricking us.
Yeah. Dude, if he starts doing that, then I don't know what to say. Like this guy's cheating his way onto good teams, and he's faking it when he's on bad teams. Because I don't know, man. This guy's never been a good shooter, and then he just turns. He didn't make a high volume. In fairness, he only made like probably less than 10 threes. But I mean, he did step up, and they're not expecting him to be like
I guess last year because he was making like clutch threes, which is like surprising.
With his current skill set in the NBA, if he somehow finds a way to be the 5th or 6th best player on that team, or even like 3rd or 4th somehow, I doubt it. But if he does, that would be crazy because it's up for grabs. Who's going to help him out after Kawhi and PG? Like Zubac, Batum, like it's literally up for grabs. Beverly, I mean, so we'll see. But any team with Kawhi on it is a lock to make it pretty decently in the playoffs. And let's just say they did win that Denver game for the sake of because they were supposed to. They would have been in the finals, or I'm sorry, the Western Conference Finals.
You think they could beat the Lakers?
And in all fairness, that was the team that everyone projected to face the Lakers. Do I think they could beat them? I think they had the best chance out of everyone in the Western Conference.
They match up well with the Lakers.
They did beat them the first time they ever played, I think opening day.
Yeah, all the games were close.
And then the Lakers beat them. And like LeBron was playing good defense on Kawhi, I remember that. And then I don't remember after that, but this was last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, NBA. All I'm going to say is this: even with Aldridge going down, I hope the best for him and his heart and all that. He had to do what he had to do, and maybe if the Nets win, they might give him a ring. It just surely depends on them, but hopefully, he recovers. And if the Nets don't make the finals and honestly win it all, it's embarrassing. And I think this is the first team I've ever seen in such a long time. Because if you look at all the finals winners, they have at least some defense. This is the first team I've seen that doesn't have basically any defense. However, The last 2 weeks, they've actually played number 16th defense in the whole league. So if they can be anything close to that and not be what they were a month ago, 29th or whatever they were, then maybe they have a chance. But if they're anything like they were the whole year, they've got some problems. And let's just say that one of Kyrie, KD, and Harden has a bad game. That game is going to be close, most likely, because their defense and because they only have 2 guys now that are basically for sure scoring. So
I also think injuries might be a factor because like KD's only played like 22 games. Kyrie has like he has nagging like knee issues here and there, so don't be surprised if a player gets injured.
the only one I can count on playing is Harden.
Harden's
Because
not going to get injured, yeah.
he is. That's another reason I like him. If you watch his play style, he plays in a way where he doesn't get hurt, and you're like, that doesn't make sense because he gets a lot of foul calls. Well, if you look at the foul calls, he's not like physically abusing his body into people. He's just like sort of manipulating his arms into people.
Yeah.
And so his arms get hit a lot for sure, but
That's why a lot of people don't like Harden because they say, "Oh, he's cheating." He's
So
yeah.
I think it's too much, but I don't mind the act of like using your body to strategically get fouls. Like he's placing his arms under people. That's fine. However, if you do it too much, it does get annoying. Like Trae Young and stuff are starting to do it. The one I hate the most is when they do it at the 3-point line. I don't mind the layups as much, but and there is definitely a lot of flops. But when I see people like purposely throw the ball and throw their legs from the 3-point line, like after a smallest bit of contact, that kind of pisses me off. Trae Young does that a lot, bro. And Trae Young, he's, I don't know, man. Like, I actually like him, but a lot of people don't like him. I don't like that aspect of him, but he's a weirdo, man. Like, you could argue he's like a top 5 offensive player and a bottom 5 defensive player. Like, he's so weird, bro. Like, and you either hate him or love him. As far as I've met people, they either hate him or love him. Or I don't know. Like, he's a weirdo, but they ain't gonna win with. Because if he has one bad game, that team is done. You know, because inefficient and bad defense, he's probably a net negative for that game. So I don't know. They have to figure some stuff out with that lineup. It's kind of weird for me to say this, but I kind of feel bad for them being stuck with Trae Young because I feel like he is the type of guy that doesn't want to improve on defense and just beat you through offense. So unless they surround him with 4 good defenders, which they're trying to do, John Collins isn't really a good defender, but DeAndre Hunter, Capella, and then Herder's okay, and then Collins is bad, but it's whatever. Like he'll get you some blocks every now and then. It looks like they're trying to do that though. It looks like they're somewhat smart. So we'll see how that goes. And then Reddish is pretty good defender. He never gets to play though. I don't understand. But yeah.
I mean, Atlanta could have had Luka, but they wanted Trae Young. So.
Yeah, they could have. We'll forever remember that trade, but it's not like Luka's doing the best either, man. Dallas is not giving them talent. He's got to they've got to give him talent around him. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith. They let go of Curry. I couldn't name you their starters. Jalen Brunson is playing all right. I know Kristaps was there, but he's unreliable as hell. Yeah, and then Willie Cauley-Stein. Like that team is not good if Luka's not on it. Like that team is dead last if Luka's not on it.
But like don't be surprised. The NBA is like heavily marketing Luka and Zion, so don't be surprised after all these players retire, like LeBron, KD, that they're going to be the players.
What I'm starting to see more right in the league is like people are starting to sit out games because Kawhi started doing that a few years ago with load management stuff, and it gets really annoying. Like I hate seeing people rest. I really don't like it. Like it literally says, like as I'm starting my players on Yahoo, it'll literally say rest, calf will not play Wednesday, and it doesn't say anything besides rest, calf. Like that's literally terrible for the league.
It kind of ruins big matchups too. Like I was really excited to see the Philly and Nets game because I thought even without Harden, like KD, Kyrie playing, that would have been a great matchup. I still saw the game here and there. It was still a decent game to watch, but like 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 big key games. What's the point of watching regular seasons
Fans,
if
when the
people
NBA starts,
just
yeah,
yeah
when the NBA starts getting back together, when they get fans again, man, they should get their tickets refunded when they got guys like it says. Imagine they paid for a Lakers versus Clippers game, and it says LeBron will sit, Kawhi will sit. Could you
yeah,
imagine? Like you're watching Anthony Davis versus Paul George.
and that's like 4 hours before the game. People have already paid their ticket.
Yeah, like it's a scam, man, and it like not even 4 hours. Sometimes they pay a week ahead, and they're thinking
Yeah,
LeBron's healthy. Now, if they get injured, that's literally different. That's fine. That's unfortunate. But if it just like so happens to be that LeBron decides to not play that day, or Kawhi
yeah.
decides to load manage that day, like that's unfortunate. Kawhi actually has a different scenario, but people are taking that
He has the degenerate knee condition.
the degenerative
Yeah,
quad, whatever. But
yeah,
here's the thing: I'm fine with Kawhi doing it, but anyone else, if they don't have that specific condition, it's kind of bad for the league. Like if you don't have
What
a
about what
actual,
about what about KD? People would say how he just came back from Achilles.
but KD is different because he wants to play. So I actually respect him.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, he does. He does want to play. Like
he does
it
it.
looks,
Yeah,
it looks like every time he's on the bench, he's standing up. It looks like he wants to be out there. And then he gives it his all. I mean, it's one thing I like about KD, man. Like he comes out and he wants to play, and he wants to play even when he's not healthy. It's unfortunate he got injured. It's unfortunate he got an Achilles tear. But the dude looks like he wants to play. At least from what I've seen. I don't
yeah,
know if I'm wrong about that, but I respect that. I respect that he wants to win, and you know he is a great player. He's a winner. The only thing is he's not a leader, and he's a snake, and people will forever hate him for that. But as a person, I think he's chill, and I've always thought he's pretty cool. He's actually
yeah,
cool. Like he interacts with fans and stuff on Twitter. Like he was going live. Remember that day I told you? But
yeah.
um,
Like the thing with KD is like people off like on both sides they wanna like as a player he's gonna be he's like one of the great players to play. Like everybody says how yeah I know Golden State was stacked, but you have a lot of players in the
right.
NBA past like that have won rings on stacked team like Bill Russell. He won 11 rings on stacked teams. He was in finals MV. Oh, I think
What?
stuck. I think his thing is stuck. It's
What
good
thing?
now. But like you have a lot of legends that
I was texting. My bad.
yeah like nobody wins by themselves. Yeah, what Katie did, yeah, it's kind of was OP and stuff, but at the same time, there's a lot of NBA legends that have also won on stacked teams. Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and they're all-time greats. But I guess the problem is when you want to present KD as the GOAT, that's gonna hurt his argument for sure because you can't really compare him to LeBron because KD doesn't have the ability to carry teams as LeBron has done, right?
I think that's true, and I think the only problem people have with KD is that he joined the team that beat them. If he had done anything else, he would have the same respect
Yeah,
because not only were they the team that beat them, it was like they were up 3-1, and then it was also like the best team in the league. So there was like three things that were against him going there, and then he did it, and then it made him really disrespected. And now he's doing the same thing in Brooklyn. But here's the thing, like I mean,
like
people could argue the same thing about LeBron in Miami, like when he created that team. But I would say that the difference in Miami's team versus the Warriors is substantial. Like I think it's at least that team is fair enough that like the
yeah,
Miami team was like beatable, and you saw them getting beat twice in I think it was 2013, 2014 or something like that. Did they get beat twice? Yeah, they did, right? Or once. They got beat by the Spurs twice, right? 2014, 2013.
once.
Was it once?
Yes, once. They beat the
Oh, they
Pistons.
beat them twice, right?
Yeah, it was two. They lost. They beat OKC and Spurs and
Yeah.
lost to the Mavericks and
Oh,
Spurs.
yes, they lost to the Mavericks and the Spurs. Okay, what I'm saying is they went 2-4 in that run. Like at least they were beatable. Kevin Durant's Warriors or whatever that Warriors team, we knew they were unbeatable, and it took an injury for them in the 2019 playoffs to get beat. And
Houston could have beaten them though. Like they're very
Houston
close.
was the only closest team.
But
If
Houston was really smart that playoffs. What they did was they forced the Warriors to run ISO. That series. There was a lot of ISO that series.
Yeah.
They stopped playing ball movement, which helped them succeed the whole series.
But honestly, even the Raptors, if KD had played, I think they would have been the second, or if not the best team against the Warriors. Challenge, like, because okay, they had Nurse who was ready to unload any scheme possible. We saw what he did against the Bucks.
Yeah.
And they have Kawhi, and then I'm pretty sure they were good against them in the regular season. So that team, even if KD was there, they would have been a problem to the Warriors because they had like the number one defense, and
Yeah.
they could score. Like the Raptors' only problem historically was not getting past LeBron and not having a superstar. You literally put LeBron in the West and you gave us a superstar. I said we're going to win it all at the beginning of the season, and we did. Now it took an injury to AD, and Clay missed a game and a half, and people overrate that too much. But it did happen, and who knows what would have happened if they were healthy. But in my honest opinion, I think it still would have went to 7, and then anything could have happened. And then you had Houston choke, going over 27, infamous. Chris Paul misses the game. Like everything went back. I think that was the same year, right?
But like at the same time, Houston had a chance next year. Like KD went out that time.
Yeah, I
remember.
remember. And then I think the Warriors won in 6 or 5.
I mean, Iguodala was injured too. I think that changed them. Like obviously, Iguodala is not in the same caliber as Chris Paul, right? But at the same time, he was very vital for the defensive play in the Warriors. So like that might have changed the momentum because like I think in game was it? I forgot. Yeah, he got injured, and which also.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be honest though. When they played Houston, I said it was gonna be over. Like the Warriors are gonna beat them no matter what because when you go when you're so close to beating someone and you just don't do it, you lose a lot of motivation. When you play them every single year in the playoffs, I feel like that just gets to you. And some people just want to beat them, like they want to try so hard to beat them, and then some people are just kind of giving up. And I don't know, man. That's when I started. Like it was the year that Raptors won. I was kind of not liking Harden for that because I was like this is one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player. There's Lowry, Kawhi, all those guys too, but Giannis. But Harden has always been one of my guys. And when I see him constantly like just not making the finals with good teams, like it's not a super team, but it's a very good team. And I'm like, man, this is just like at some point I gotta stop picking him to win because it looks like there's a reason behind this. I don't know if it was D'Antoni. I don't know if it was the team wasn't good enough. I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was all those things. But when they played them in 2019, I'm pretty sure they played them before we played the Warriors. I was like, there's no way they're going to win. I don't see motivation. I don't see them. The way they were playing even in the series before, it looked like they were barely scraping wins. I don't know, man. Like I just wasn't getting the sense that they were a threat to play in the finals. I just didn't feel that sort of energy from that team. And you felt it from the Warriors. Like they knew what their worth was, and they knew that they wanted to get to the finals. I don't remember that series at all, but I just remember looking at. I think Houston actually won Game 1, if I'm not mistaken. And then I was like, they're probably going to lose the next 2, and I think they did.
2018 or 19?
19.
19. Wait.
Yeah, 19.
I think Golden State won.
Yeah, Golden State did win, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, Game 1. Yeah, I think Houston won.
2019.
Yeah. Check. I'm not too sure, but I remember something like that.
Yeah, the Warriors won the first game. It was a close game.
Oh, they did? Okay,
maybe 2018.
No, yeah, they did win that one. Pretty sure.
No, Golden State won Game 1, both series.
Really?
Yeah.
No way, because Harden had a really good game. I remember.
Check it up.
Let me see. Because Harden had 40 points, didn't he? And he was like really efficient. Okay, well, regardless though, I just remember Houston started out well in one of those 2 series. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, Harden had 41, but they lost that game.
Okay. So I remember something like that. It's a little bit off. But when I saw it, I was like, man. After that, I was like, I look at it like I was always looking at the Rockets like they just barely had like they almost win every time they almost win, and it became a notorious thing for them. I just branded them with always almost winning, like, and I was like, I can't cheer for the team or I can't not cheer for the team. Obviously, I'm Raptors, but like I can't pick them to win a series against the Warriors when they're always almost winning. And look at the biggest revenge in the regular season maybe of all time was when they called out of bounds. They didn't call out of bounds on that Kevin Durant play in the regular season. Remember when he was stepping out of bounds? Yeah.
How did they miss that?
So
Oh.
they missed that call. Curry hits a mid-range, puts him up 3, I think, or puts him up 2. And then Harden comes down the court, hits a contested step back 3 over Draymond and Clay, and game over. And he gets up, and I was like, man, this was one of the best moments. I was like all over that. But again, barely win. So like, you either barely lose or you barely win. The Rockets were never like the Warriors just had their number. That's what it was.
The Warriors had the league's number.
Not really. Raptors played well against the Warriors. Raptors always played well against the Warriors. Who else? Honestly, I'm not even trying to sound biased, but they really did. I can't remember another team, but Houston, I think, was the closest, and it's kind of sad, but they were overpowered, so it makes sense. But yeah. So what's your prediction? What are your predictions for this year?
For the finals? Like,
any bold predictions you have in the playoffs or finals or anything like that? Like,
it's probably going to be Lakers and Nets in the finals.
okay, a lot of people have Clippers.
I'm not. I mean,
it'd be interesting.
If the Lakers are fully healthy, because they got Drummond too now, right? So Anthony Davis is like, he's a really good player, like offensively and defensively.
Obviously,
yeah.
He is. The problem with Anthony Davis is he is like the only thing that's bad about him is unreliability. That's and I mean injury wise. Yeah. When he's out there, even if he's not scoring a lot, like he is very, very important to that team on his defense. And like, I agree with you completely. I think if fully healthy, the Lakers have the slight advantage over the Clippers. However, I will say that it will be so interesting to see, like if we ever get to see Clippers-Lakers, because if you do remember, the last time we saw LeBron versus Kawhi was in the finals, and it was in 2014 when Kawhi was still very young, and I believe the Spurs won. But we have not seen them like in a series since then where they're like both top 3 players.
Yeah, because they were East-West. They were East-West. Now they're both West-West. So
right, and I think it'd be very interesting. I couldn't tell you who'd be the winner, but it would be like that right there would probably.
The game's been very, very fun to watch because I remember in the regular season, the matchup they played, they were all close to the wire games.
Yeah,
they're very interesting to watch.
And I think that would
shockingly, Paul George actually played well in a couple of those games too.
Yeah, I think it'd be a very interesting series. I think it'd probably go to 6 or 7, and I think you could see. I would chalk up like anything could happen. Like I'm not going to say for sure Lakers are going to win. I have them slight advantage over them, but the Clippers could very well beat them. Like it just takes a Paul George being what
I think the matchups are going to be very interesting as well.
Yeah. I just think.
What do you think about Denver? Jamal Murray got injured, so
yeah, unfortunately they're done because that's their guy that like turns up in the playoffs. It's the same as Utah. If Donovan Mitchell goes out, I think they're done. So I think that Denver might give us like a sneak 1 series win out of like motivation to do it for Jamal type style. But other than that, I don't think they go anywhere. And if they do, they're going to get eliminated in the 2nd round or 3rd round because they're just not talented without Jamal Murray. I'm sorry. If Frank Campazzo is your starting point guard, and then you got Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic.
You see that clip where the guy where Ben Simmons is setting the screen and he just pushes him.
Yeah, I remember that. And then composite push Simmons. Yeah, and then,
Yeah,
but he's good, but he's not Jamal Murray. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like Jamal Murray can get you 40, 45 points, 50 points.
But wasn't it? Yeah, the
That was
playoffs he
COVID.
steps up, but like regular season he's like inconsistent here and there. But yeah, he was huge for the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was huge, and I like
Mm.
players that turn up in the playoffs. And I made a lot of people respect Jamal Murray because up until that point, up until literally last year, I did not like him. Other than the fact that he was Canadian, I did not like his game because I was like, this guy's way too inconsistent, like you were saying. And I feel like most of the time, and 90% of the time, this is true. Those players don't just randomly turn up in the playoffs. So what we saw was very special from him.
Cause he's dropping like 50 balls here and there.
Yeah.
That's not
Granted,
easy to do. Even if people, you could say, "Oh, it's the bubble and shit," but
yeah,
these are
I was gonna
NBA
say that.
players. These are NBA players. He's scoring 50 points on.
Yeah, I
So,
was gonna say that, but also like you're right. Like so yeah. What was I gonna say though? Oh yeah, Paul George. Um,
yeah.
Paul
Paul
George
George.
is one of those guys that I actually don't dislike that much. Like a lot of people have a lot of hate for him, and I don't really understand it. Like people
Because they
say,
put a lot of expectations that he has to like.
yeah, but here's the thing, right? If you look at his playoff numbers since he came into the league, they aren't as bad as people make it out to be. If you look at the averages, however,
Mm,
what people remember is he always gets eliminated, and he always doesn't make it past round one, and yada 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 up until last year.
yeah.
So people put a huge burden on him, even though he'll perform well, but unfortunately gets eliminated by teams like the Raptors or Cleveland
Mm.
or Miami or I can't remember if Boston ever beat them, but teams like that.
I mean, his
He,
early playoff series against Miami, he played like really, really well.
he
No,
did.
yeah,
Um,
Indiana was actually giving a Miami run for their money.
yes,
Like,
and another thing is like people I get it. Like, I really do understand it. Like, people are like, okay, he doesn't perform in the very last elimination game. He plays terrible. Like, everyone remembers 2 for 16. Everyone remembers those. He did it twice. I mean, those shots off the rim, off the side of the rim.
hmm.
I mean, not the rim. Sorry, off the side of the backboard. What am I saying? Uh, like, and those are in big games. But I mean, this is a guy who's probably going through mental health like a lot of other players. I'm not saying he gets a pass for that, but I am saying that he is like human and people got to chill because this guy is consistently a top 10 player in the league, if not top 15. And he has literally no flaws to his game.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if he
you're
ever,
right. Yeah.
if he ever, you know, pulls off a insane playoff run, people shouldn't be surprised. That's all I'm going to say from Paul George. Because I always have liked his game. I just wish he performed in the playoffs more. As a person, he's kind of weird, but I'm just saying as a player, like he's sick. Anthony Davis, like I prefer Paul George's game to Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is a better player because Anthony Davis can be a ball hog. Anthony Davis can be
Mm.
like non-vision. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't see people and he just clogs the paint and he forces up a lot of shots.
Mm.
Um, but he somehow plays very ugly and he gets it done. I don't know. Like I don't like Anthony Davis's game among the top 5 or 10 players because his bag is much weaker. Now it's not an argument. I'm not saying he's worse. I'm just saying I don't like his game.
You don't like,
But,
yeah, that's fine. Cause like I know
yeah,
a lot of people that say, "Oh, I don't like LeBron's game," but you can't. You still have to admit he's a great player.
exactly.
Some people,
But he performs and he
yeah,
performs every game. And he put
yeah,
up 50,
exactly,
30, 90 last year in their finals run. And
exactly.
another
Yeah.
thing, that's why I want Giannis to do very good. Although I was cheering up until he signed that contract for him to come over to Toronto. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I still am rooting for him because we're not playing him in the playoffs most likely, and I don't want I'd like to see the Bucks give the Nets a run for their money.
He seems like a loyal guy. He seems like he wants to stay in
The
Milwaukee.
whole team is cool. Like they got cool players. Like Middleton's so sick too. Like he's very chill. Drew Holiday's cool. I don't like Budenholzer, but whatever. Brooke Lopez is chill, whatever. But I'm just saying, like it's mostly honest. That's
That's
why.
a guy. That's a guy. When I look at his game, I just like Brook Lopez, like how he moves in the court. Like,
Here's the thing: the way the Bucks are set up, the fact that they have Brook Lopez over a guy like Joel Embiid that's clogging the paint actually makes Giannis more valuable. So it helps his
Yeah.
game. They surround him with shooters, which is why I
Yeah.
always will say that the Bucks have a better chance than the Philly does in the playoffs. However, I don't like their coaching scheme. When things go wrong, they don't know what to do. So it's kind of tough. I like their play scheme, but when they start losing, I don't know what they're doing. However, Philly has the same issue because they have Doc Rivers, who now notoriously, he's starting to, when he gets down in a series or when he starts winning a series, he could choke it. So
Yeah.
everyone has their flaws. Nets have no defense. Everyone has their flaws. The East is kind of wide open. However, Nets offense overpowers everyone's defense at its healthiest. But yeah, man.
Miami, if Miami's like a 7th seed right now, if they win one more game, they're maybe a 6th seed, and if this continues, it's gonna be a Bucks versus the Heat first round matchup.
Yeah, I hope so, man. That'd be very interesting. My hope
There's
is
a lot of
that
storylines. Giannis wants revenge. Miami's a solid team too.
Miami
Like,
is solid. I love Adebayo.
they lost a lot of games early in the season because of COVID and injury. So
Yeah,
that's why
I'm
that's a
gonna
solid
go in
team.
like 10 minutes because it's
Yeah,
done
yeah, 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 yeah.
for both of us. But we can do this again like another time, maybe tomorrow or whatever.
No, that's tomorrow, okay.
But what I was gonna say is, let's just keep talking for a bit. I really do like Adebayo. I've
We've been
always liked
almost
him
for like
behind
2 hours. Damn.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, but I mean it's chill.
Yeah.
I've always liked Adebayo, and now he's like arguably a top 5 center. I would say he is. I love his game, and I love Butler, but I will say that I think that they peaked last year. Like I don't see them being this good again this year because they have the exact same team.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it's not a bad team. It's just one of those teams. It's like you don't expect to make the finals. It's probably like a 4th or 5th best team in the East, but they have like that playoff experience and getting through teams that you cannot count Miami out. And even if you look at their roster, you're like, how do they get it done? Because they don't look that talented. But man, when you got Butler on your team, a lot can change. I will say that
He's a good leader.
he is a very, very, very good leader, and that's one of the dudes I've probably gained the most respect for because I used to not I didn't hate him, but I was like okay with him, and then I was like PG's better than Butler. But then I start seeing Butler doing what he does with Philly and what he did with Miami, what he did with the Wolves because they started winning games. They were apparently a 4th seed when he was there for a certain stretch.
And he got injured. Then he got injured.
So when you got Butler on your team, there's a clear chance at you going somewhere decent in the playoffs, and he's one of the older vets, so he's very good. And I don't know, something about him, man. He's super clutch. Like he hits threes when he needs to, even though he's a sub 30% or I don't know what his percent is, but it's not very good from 3. He only takes maybe like 20. He only makes maybe 25 threes a year, but he makes them when it counts in the playoffs, and it's like kind of like a Rondo thing, but obviously way better. I don't know. So if a team has Butler on it, you can't count him out. I will say that. And Adebayo is a very, very good complimentary too, especially now that he's giving you 19 points per game and his free throw percentage is in the 80s. So Adebayo has no weakness but shooting. And with a team that has Hero and Duncan Robinson, I guess it makes it work, and Dragic. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Miami's interesting. But I just think that they still aren't as good as Philly, Bucks, Nets.
Yeah, I feel it.
So it's going to be interesting. I'd like to see Bucks versus Nets, and I'd like to see Philly versus Miami. That'd be the best thing I'd like to see.
Yeah, me too. I want to see good matchups because
yeah,
regular season, all these players going out. We don't really get to see that many good games, honestly.
mm-hmm.
I see the game. It says this player's out. There's no point of watching the games. So I want that's why I don't want the Clippers Lakers choking. I want to see Lakers and Clippers face in this playoffs.
Yeah. I agree with that. And Celtics, I don't know what to think of them, man, because they have no excuse to be bad. They have a good coach. They have two top 25 players in Tatum and Brown has developed like crazy this year. Unfortunately, they don't really have anything else but those guys. Kemba Walker. Robert Williams is really good. Robert Williams is probably their third best player. I'm calling it right now. I am going to say this right now because at the beginning of the year I said that he should be starting, and now I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say he's their third best player. Their starting center, Robert Williams, is a beast, and it's one of the reasons they've traded Theis away, even though I don't think that's a very smart trade, or Theis or whatever his name is. I think he's decent too, but he's not Robert Williams level because this dude can jump out the gym, and this dude can rebound, and he's very athletic, and he is going to cause problems in the future. Like, he could be a very good 13 and 10 guy with like 2 blocks, and I think that's very valuable. Yeah, and I think, Robert Williams is what the hell, chat? Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Celtics as of right now, though, not so much excitement from them. I will say this, unless they go on a like end of the season run where they go like, let's say, I don't know how many games are left, but I think it's around maybe 30. But let's say they go like 80 win percent in that time and they jump up to like 4 or 5 seed. That'd be pretty cool. But other than that, they're pretty boring compared to the rest of those teams. I was gonna comment on LeBron. One thing I was gonna say, it's funny that he's consistently like one of the best players in the league, if not the best player, and he's constantly almost always using his athleticism up until the recent years where he started developing his shooting. But even then, if you look at his bag, right, like I'm talking about his skill set, like late in a game, he doesn't really he is clutch. He is definitely clutch. And especially over the most recent years. And he will take those shots. But I will say that all I'm saying is he's kind of weird compared to like a Kevin Durant, compared to like a Steph Curry or a James Harden or one of those top scorers, right? He doesn't really have a go-to move, if you kind of think of it. Kawhi has like at least a mid-range or something. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even really have a step back either. He just kind of has a mid-range. But Durant, he can shimmy, pull up, Jay, get to a spot, Harden step back, whatever. Curry can, obviously he can get by a screen and shoot, whatever. But LeBron doesn't really have like a go-to move to like create a shot. And even if he does, it's not very efficient because you're like, oh, he's not the best shooter compared to the other guys.
He likes that spin move though. He likes that spin move, but he doesn't.
Right, but what I want to say is it's kind of crazy to me that like he gets off some crazy clutch shots without having like the greatest bag in late games. Like it doesn't even look the best, but like Kevin Durant, when he hit that shot over him, he just dribble and he got to his spot and he shot over.
Yeah.
It looked natural. But LeBron, it's always been something kind of weird. Like he has to take a shot over someone from like 40 feet or something, or like a game winner in a corner.
LeBron is like a really unique player. Like
he's unique.
Let's like a KD, Kyrie, even Curry. Even if it's a last shot, even if it's a double team, they'll take it. But let's say LeBron's double team, he'd pass it to the open player. KD would probably shoot it. Kyrie would probably shoot that. Kobe would probably shoot that. But LeBron's the type of player that would get the more efficient shot.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just going to comment on that. It's very strange to me that he's one of the better players. Okay, let's just, for the sake of saying, for the argument, one of the best player, or the best player in the last 10 years, and arguably still up at that level, probably the greatest prime of all time in all of athletes. And he's never really had a go-to shot. I just find that super strange. A lot of people can argue like he has like a patented where he like brings the ball, like he kind of brings it up into your face and then steps back with it.
Like a step back,
Yeah, but it's not really like a move. Like it's just he dribbles in your face and then he just jabs and then pulls back. But yeah, it's so interesting because I was hearing someone debate about that, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty true. You know, LeBron is kind of special for that, and he can always still get a layup off or even a mid. He'll take those shots. It won't look the prettiest because it's not in his
Yeah,
bag. quote
even
unquote,
like
but
yeah. LeBron's a really unique player. Like I'm not a big fan of LeBron, but like you like I try to look at it from a unbiased point of view.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so,
Um,
I prefer like for me like I prefer watching like scores. Like that's just my opinion. That's what I like. But
yeah,
like
for sure.
you can't deny the greatness of LeBron. Like
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like watching him play. I prefer watching him in the playoffs. In the regular season, he can get kind of boring, other than in a close game. Like if he's not playing the Clippers, it's going to be a boring game most of the time.
yeah,
Uh, but in the playoffs, he just turns it up so much, man. He's so entertaining to watch. Especially that 2016 and 2018 run that he had up until he got to the finals in 2018. That was insane. But yeah, man. I mean, that was
yeah, I know it's time.
he's a unique player, and he can, use his teammates very well. He's obviously one of the better leaders and one of the better teammates. And any team you could, that's why if you ever started a franchise, if you ask me Jordan or LeBron, I don't have an answer, and you can go either way because any team you put LeBron on goes very far, no matter what the team is. And I'm not sure I could say the same about Jordan because like for example, I don't think Jordan can carry that '07 Cavs or 2018 Cavs to the finals, but who knows? Maybe I mean I'm not saying Jordan isn't that. I'm just saying the first 7 years of his career he didn't do very much, but get eliminated, and then he won 6 in a row. So it's a
Yeah,
cool
but
debate,
like
you know.
at the same time, yeah, like I guess like a lot of the teams he faced, like the Boston Celtics, they end up winning the championships. The
That's true.
Detroit Pistons, they end up winning the
The
championship.
Pistons, yeah, that's true.
So he,
That is true. You
yeah,
got eliminated by the best. And
yeah,
Jordan's a hell of a player, man. I mean,
yeah, they're both great players. Yeah, you can't
I'm
take
just
away.
saying, like, if you, my whole point is like they're different play styles, and I still wouldn't know who to start a franchise with if you gave me that question today. Those are definitely the two biggest names I'd go for sure because of the accolades and winning that they get you, and everything else that obviously comes to their games. And
Yeah,
um, but yeah, it's so crazy to me that you can have two so different play styles and then it could still get you wins. It's cool. Like basketball's cool like that. Everyone has a unique play style.
so yeah,
But yeah, man. Uh,
I'm gonna close the stream now. So
8:02. Yeah, we're gonna
yeah,
close this. So I'll talk to you soon. Let me know if you're doing this tomorrow.
I'll
We got
probably
on
do this
talk.
live tomorrow. I'll probably do it tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
We'll talk soon then.
yeah,
Good talk, bro. Peace out.
yeah. Yeah.